Hello everyone, Chris Anderson with Mount Comfort RV. Well, we're continuing on our Corona Chronicles. So today we're going to make a co-video for you. Sorry, bad humor. Try to keep it light. Obviously, very serious situation. We hope you're all staying safe out there. Now, yesterday we gave you the choice, and I'm telling you, a lot of people voted, and it was very close. In fact, I think it came down to one single vote. So rest assured, the coach that comes in second place, we'll get to that video fairly soon, so don't be too dejected. But the winner is, I'll have Tony Pane back, the 4037 Country Star. This is a 2020 4037 Country Star by one vote. So that's where we're at. Before we get too deep into this, Coach, we are going to do the same thing. We like interaction, and to that end, our next video, it will be hopefully later in the week, will be the Ventano, and we really come down to two to choose from. I've got 4 or 5 in stock, but one of them sold. A couple of them are our accessibility video with the handicap ramp and everything in it, and that is we've already done videos on that. One of them is a 4037. Well, since we're doing a 4037 here, I'm not going to turn around and do a 4037 on a Ventano as well. So that really leaves me with two choices. And we do take constructive criticism. Well, somebody said we weren't very organized in this, so we're trying to do a better job. So to that end, I cheated and took a couple notes so I don't forget things. The 3407 Ventano, which will be on your screen now. This is a 3-slide with a full wall slide coach. It's a nice little short bus. In fact, I look at this as one of the good alternatives if you like the new air, the idea of the new air, but don't like the price of the new air, don't need all the electronics and everything. Honestly, that coach is a good option for that. And the other one, I don't need my notepad for this one, the other one that we could do is a 4369. Obviously 3 slides there, another full wall slide, that's a bath and a half coach. Both of these coaches have king beds in them, so you choose. The floor plans have popped up on your screen now at this point. You can look those over and decide which one you want. Just write it in the comments down below and we'll get it taken care of. So that's number one. Number 2, I apologize. Our video we did on the Canyon Star, we actually had to cut a couple of things out. We didn't get everything in we wanted to as far as the garage goes. The light really messes with us in there with the ramp door down. We'll go back at a later date and do an hour-long video on that coach and hit that just a little bit harder. Again, we're trying to keep it moving through the line here and show you some of the major differences of the line, not necessarily every single feature of that exact floor plan. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. So now this is our first diesel coach. We've done 3 different gas coaches up until now. And so we have to talk a little bit, first of all, about why do you want to go to diesel and why maybe you don't want to go to diesel. And these are good conversations to have. Well, first of all, I think if it was all the same price, we wouldn't sell very many gas coaches. A diesel is an awesome platform for this. But the price difference is more than people think it is. And what I mean by that is people will look and say, boy, you can get an entry-level diesel for, $200,000 or less. And yeah, you can. And boy, that gas coach costs $200,000 or maybe just a little less than that. Same price as the diesel. Well, if you're comparing a Canyon Star to a Thor Palazzo or something, then absolutely those two numbers can compare, but you cannot compare the build quality in any fashion whatsoever. From the Thor Palazzo is about as entry level of a box as you can build on it, and I'm not knocking them. They're very inexpensive, and it is what it is. And then you have a Newmar build on the gas chassis, so you got your highest end gas coach versus your most entry level diesel, and the fact that they come in at the same price is fine, but they're certainly not apples to apples. If you stay apples to apples, and you have about the same trim level, about the same size of coach, about the same amenities, your price difference between gas and diesel is going to be in that $75,000 or more neighborhood to keep everything the same. Well, why is that? And why would I want to spend $75,000 or more to get to a diesel product? Well, first of all, let me say why you don't want to spend that. Okay, the first two, somebody that hasn't owned a diesel before, it's funny because I get the same 2 answers a lot of time. You ask somebody, well, why do you want a diesel? And a lot of times, if they haven't done this before, the first 2 answers out of their mouth are correct in certain applications, but they don't really apply to our world. So I'm going to give you the two reasons why not to buy a diesel. The first one I hear is I want to get that better gas mileage. Well, if you're talking Class A diesel bus, you're not going to get any better gas mileage, maybe a mile per gallon, maybe not, out of a diesel product than you will out of that gas motorhome. And by the way, diesel fuel is usually noticeably more than gas. So at the very best case, your fuel pricing would be a wash. Now, I know diesel engines can get better fuel economy. I know if we're talking about a 3/4 ton Chevy truck, that Duramax engine is going to get better fuel economy than the gas hog. No arguments there, but that doesn't apply to our world. In our world, they get about the same fuel economy, and gasoline is usually cheaper. So you got to throw that one out the window. The second one I always get is, well, a diesel engine will go 500,000 to 1,000,000 miles. That's true. Gas engine will go 150 to 250,000 miles. Here's the problem. People put 5,000 to 6,000 miles a year on average on their motorhome. Don't believe me? Go on to any RV dealer's website and look at their used coaches and see how many miles are on the coaches. It averages out to 5,000 or 6,000 miles a year, I promise you. And then you get the guy that, well, we're going full time. Well, great, you're going full time. Those are the worst. They go like crazy for the first year or two, and then they find that one or two spots they like, and they move the coach once or twice a year from spot A to spot B. You know, they went out and they saw the world, they did what they wanted to do, and they still love RVing, but they go between, okay, we love up in Michigan in the summer, and we love Phoenix in the winter, or something along those lines. So it might get driven across the country twice a year, but it's still not going to add up to more than 5,000 or 6,000 miles a year. Certainly there are exceptions to all of this, and I'm not here to tell you how you RV. I can only give you odds, percentages, and information. So that's why we're here. So now we've covered why we don't really want a diesel, because you're not going to hit either mileage threshold to wear out the engine. That's truly a rare exception. Why do we want a diesel? Well, several reasons. First of all, let's go with, we've talked a lot about gross vehicle weight ratings. Gross vehicle weight ratings on those gas coaches, I told you the very top is that 26,000 pound GVWR. And that's the top end. That's the big dog on the gas coach. Well, we're standing here now in a Newmar Kountry Star, and it has a gross vehicle weight rating of 37,500 pounds. So how much our axles and chassis and all that can carry has gone up significantly. So number one would be carrying capacity. That goes to your holding tanks, that goes to your basement storage, that goes to how much you can tow behind it. Well, gross vehicle weight rating doesn't go to how much you can tow behind it, but the beefiness of the chassis does. And by the way, you can tow more behind it as well, but that's a different number. We'll get to that. So that's one reason why we want a diesel. Reason number two, air ride suspension. Instead of being on shocks and springs like a car, these coaches literally ride on air. They're on big pillowy airbags that go down the road that improve our ride tremendously. Okay. Number three, it's a heavier coach. Being a heavier coach, you feel less of the wind, and the wind has less of an impact on you going down the road. So that's another good reason. Number four would be the comfort drive. You can't get comfort drive on a gas coach. We've done lots of videos on comfort drive. You can look up Mount Comfort RV comfort drive video, and you'll see us driving coaches. You'll see a whole in-depth series of videos on that. We're not going to get too much into that today, but comfort drive is a game changer. These coaches drive better. Next would be handling. These coaches turn better. This has a 55-degree wheel cut on the coach. This will actually turn a tighter circle than that 39-foot gas coach we were in yesterday. It's flat out easier to get in and around in gas stations and all of that. Next, we're going with quieter. Okay. Having that engine 40 feet behind us, you don't hear it. And going down the road, I'm not saying you don't hear the engine much. You don't hear it. The gas coach, you definitely hear it. Now, it's not bad at all when you're cruising on fairly level ground. You know, it's very nominal noise up there, especially since they've gone to the 6-speed transmission on the gas coach. But when you're climbing a mountain with the Ford V10, you're going to hear it. So increased storage capacity, increased weight capacity, better ride, quieter. These are reasons you should consider a diesel. Going along with that, you usually get the next step up in luxury trim levels. And a lot of times as we go up the line, you're going to see things like a polished porcelain tile floor. We don't have that in this coach, but you will certainly see that. And the reason for that is we're not worried about weight. You know, we can have about as beefy a chassis as we want on the diesel side. All it takes is money. So those are some of the reasons why you would want to consider diesel. Certainly the engine will last forever, and you get the Allison transmission, and that's a beautiful thing. And all of that. There's lots of reasons. I know I've missed some, and Roy's probably going to be out there punching in reasons I forgot, and we love you, Roy, and that's okay. But those are, in my mind, the big reasons why a customer would want to maybe consider spending a little bit more money to get to a diesel platform. So here we are. Let's go over this coach specifically. Sorry for the long intro. All right, up front, we're going to have two sofas. This is a sofa configuration. This can be ordered with two chairs here or a couple of different sofas. These are two Jacknife Sofas that do make into a bed. Nice part about these is they can both be into a bed at the same time, and you still have a nice aisleway in here when they are in beds. This floor plan has a nice aisleway in it when the slides are closed too, but we'll get back to that. So two beds up here that sleep one or two people each. Same thing here with our booth. We have a big booth. Look at the width on this table. And we're not supposed to show the sale pricing on there. Look at the width on this table here. You got a lot of spacing in here for those of us who might not be the skinniest people on earth. So lots of space there, and just like our previous coaches, we do have good storage underneath the booth. Good windows. Now it helps that it's a little sunnier day today, so it gives you a little bit more of a feel in here. We do have the day shades down, but it's nice and bright in here, and it's a beautiful day. So we're going to use that extra natural light as much as we can. We do have a televator here across from the sofa, so we're going to have one of Chris's favorite things is good viewing angles. We're going to have that. I'm going to pull these shades down so we don't mess with Tony's camera too much. That might help the lighting a little bit. All right, that one doesn't want to give up. There we go. So there's our televator. Again, Samsung Smart TV. We'll just go down this side first. Up here we have storage. We have audio video set up. There's our Blu-ray player. By the way, the exterior on this is Linux, the interior is Urban, and the cabinets are Arbor Maple. This does have the in-motion satellite dish already on it. So all you need to do is sign up for DirecTV or Dish Network and put your box in there and you're good to go. As we get into kitchen storage, I'm going to open up some of these cabinets. Good storage in the kitchen. These are lined cabinets. So they have that nice kind of carpet in the bottom of it. That keeps things quieter. On the storage, we have a pull-out island here. There's a little button right here. Take a look at this. Not really an island, I'm sorry, pull-out countertop for added workspace. So you're working over here, you need something to set here, you have that extra prep space. And then you still get two full extension drawers here. And of course, those are the soft close that we've been talking about all week. When you're done with this, pop a hip into it and put it back. 3 drawers here. Underneath the stove top. This is the same recessed cooktop we've seen in the last 2 coaches, but we'll show you anyway. And this just folds up, so it kind of acts as a little mini backsplash. It's all beautifully cut Corian. 30-inch convection microwave. That's a very residential, it is a residential microwave unit, so you can cook like an oven or cook like a microwave with that. Pull down sink sprayer here. I love the backsplash. It's kind of, you have some of this clear glass block in there as well. That was new for 2020. Looks awesome. Look at this. Only Newmar would give you this little drawer here. Like I said, you never know. On a drawer like this, somebody will find something to put in there. Most companies wouldn't bother to, use that space because you got to make the drawer front and put a handle on it and put 2 drawer glides out there. There's probably an extra 30, 40, 50 bucks wrapped up in the production of this coach just to make that little drawer, but they know that RVers use all the space available to them. All right, we're going to go back up front here to the other sofa behind the driver's seat. Here we go. That's all one big cabinet. Note the doors stay up by themselves because of the metal struts that hold them there. That's all one space, so long items will fit in there just fine. These struts also pull down, okay, so they That's putting tension there. That's just less chance for rattles going down the road. We do not like rattles going down the road. Up front, couple compartments here. All right, so we have the business end of things here. Let's get down to business. This is our wine guard antenna that will automatically dial itself in for optimizing over-the-air TV. We have our in-motion satellite dish. This is our Xantrex inverter. This coach does have a whole house inverter on it, so we can power outlets off of the batteries with that. Water heater controls are here for the gas side. For the electric side is here. Our step controls and our security lights are up here. Slide out control for running our slide rooms in and out are right below that. These are awning controls and awning light controls down here. There's a couple of awnings, we'll get to that on the outside, but you have your, on a diesel coach, you have your little over the door awning, and then you have your main awning. The last two systems, we have our energy control system up here that tells us a lot of different things, mostly what's using amperage, and will also keep us from going over a certain amount of amperage. Right now, for instance, we're using 27 amps on one leg and 0 on the other. If we started turning things on in here, both those numbers would go up. But the big thing is to keep us under 50 amps because we're running off the generator right now and it has a 50 amp circuit breaker on it. So as long as we're under 50, we're in good shape. The nice part about this energy management system is it does it all automatically, kind of behind the scenes. It controls that for you, so you don't really have to mess with it. And then the new Newmar tank monitor is here. This has more than just tank monitoring in it. It tells us our battery voltage. We can turn our water pump off and on. It tells us what is in all of our holding tanks. Go back to the home screen here. It also controls our HVAC, so our heating and air conditioning is in here. We've got the heat pumps on. There are two 15,000 BTU air conditioner / heat pumps on the roof of this unit, and they are running now, so that's how quiet this is. And then go back home one more time. I'm going to go to AGS. What is AGS? AGS is auto generator start. We can set the generator to come up either at a certain, come on at either a certain temperature, or if our voltages get low on our batteries, you can set it up for quiet time so it's not running at times when you don't want it to be, that type of thing. So automatic generator start is a nice feature. This coach has it. That's one thing you typically don't get until you get into diesel coaches. Now we do have a secondary TV up front. That's in case you have guests over and they're sitting there with their big heads in front of your TV. Don't have to worry about that. You can watch the front TV, and then this is just a little storage cubby up top here. All right, while we're up front, we'll go ahead real quickly. This is a 2020, so we're going to have our new electronics up front, our new digital dashboard, and our new controls for the Freightliner chassis. So I'm going to drop the steering wheel down so we can see that a little better. There we go. Is that a good angle? All right. So when I turn the key on, I'm just going to turn it kind of to the accessories right now. You get to see that digital dash light up. All right. And then we can crank over the engine. That came on immediately, and you probably didn't even hear it. So that's the nice part about the diesel. Now, these are all digital gauges, obviously, but we'll go over them real quick just to show you what they are. Right here, that's actually just a tachometer running, I don't know, 700, 800 RPMs right now. PSI, that's holding tank number 1. That's our air for our air brakes and our air ride suspension, running a little over 100 there, and the other one is over here. We have water temp, fuel, voltage from our alternator, and our oil pressure. All of that is on here. The new dashboard, everything is controlled like this is like your computer mouse, and you can scroll through. Watch as I can scroll down through here. I can control my Bluetooth, my dash brightness, steering effort. What's steering effort? Well, that's your comfort drive. You can give it more or less steering effort based on what you're looking for here, but you control all of that through this steering wheel. And most people find their happy spot on comfort drive and just leave it. Some people do crank it up and down. What's really missing is historically on our diesels over here, we've had a shift pad. Where's our shifter for our Allison transmission? All we have is our automatic leveling jack system over there. Where's our shifter? Well, our shifter's actually hidden. It's right here. And you roll this dial forward or backwards. I'm not going to do it because the front blind's down and we'd go places. Well, the brake set, probably not, but still not going to do it. But that's how you control your gear shift now. And then our Jake brake, or our exhaust brake, is controlled by moving this stalk up and down. Wiper controls have been moved over here to the driver's left. instead of on the wheel. And then this has our cruise control and our answering the phone, because our Bluetooth is now built into this dash right here instead of using an aftermarket radio Bluetooth. So this is a little more integrated. Your microphone, you can't see it, but it's right here on top. Your microphone is built into the coach. You can see your phone. It's going to be hard to get a shot of it, but right up there in the corner, it would tell you your battery life on your phone. And if somebody calls you, it flashes up right here in the center of your screen who's calling. It's much more integrated, much more like a newer car than like an older car that's had an aftermarket stereo added. Historically, that's what these have been like. This does have your Rand McNally radio with the Rand McNally navigation built into it. It's not a Rand McNally radio, I'm sorry. It's actually just a Rand McNally map system would be a better way to word that. And of course we have backup camera and side marker cameras, all of that good stuff as well. The passenger has life really rough. Not only can they sit here and kick their feet up, you know, you have that, but you have their tray table here, which flips over. Really nice if you want to work going down the road on a laptop, work the crossword puzzle, have a sandwich. All things like that are feasible, and that table's built into the post. Entry door on diesels are 99% of the time they're in the very front. That's more of a bus-like feel. So you have your steps here, and then don't worry, your feet don't just dangle over the cover the whole time. You actually have a cover that they don't dangle over the step well, rather. You actually have a cover that comes out and comes up. There you go, and that's the same flooring that's used throughout the coach. So good look. All right, let's get back to the midship portion of the coach. Residential refrigerator that runs off of an inverter. Take a look here. This is Whirlpool Icemaker in a drawer down below. And one of the nice parts about the 4037 is the size of the pantry. Now remember, the 4037, this is actually also a Ventano floor plan. So if you like it in the Country Star, you can get the same floor plan, just a little nicer trim level, a little bigger engine, stuff like that in the Ventano. And we can talk about that more at a later date. We will get to a video on that. 4037 is a bath and a half floor plan. So here's our little half bath. Basically a toilet and a sink and a little bit of storage. Let me see if I can get these open for us. We do have a vanity here. There we go. And a little bit of storage below. Just like yesterday's coach, we do have a central vac on here as well. The attachments plug in right here. Now this portion of the coach, this is where we could close off the bedroom from everything else. Okay, we can shut this, but that's no fun. We want to see the bedroom. Come on back, nice wide aisle. Look how wide this is. That's the nice part about the full wall slide, is it really widens things up. Like a lot of Newmar floor plans, we have two wardrobes in the bedroom on either side of the Samsung television. Okay, so two nice wardrobes, and like you've seen below, 5 drawers below. They're like this. Okay, 5 drawers below down here, and then one. This cabinet is just the AV cabinet. There's your Blu-ray player and your satellite receiver would go in there if you do add that. King size bed in the 4037. That's huge. Outlets on both sides of the bed, so you don't have to worry about that. We do have up top here, okay, it's hard to see. This is the pillow top mattress, but up top here we actually have an outlet right in the middle of the cabinet. What's that for? Well, that's for the CPAP machine. And then, yeah, we have cabinets on either side, and then there's little cubbies here where you can run your hose for your CPAP down out of here. Your CPAP can just stay here all the time, plugged in. You run your hoses down through here. It's nice. It's a nice, clean setup. So for many years, people with CPAPs have kind of been neglected. We're thinking of you now. Sorry about the past, but we're thinking of you now. These are dual pane windows in the Country Star. And then these windows actually open to allow you to get a breeze through here. So the dual pane's nice because you're going to hear your neighbors less. They're going to hear you less. It's a better insulated window, obviously. Number one. Number two, these do actually slide open so you get that cross breeze. How nice is that? You do have an emergency egress window at the foot of the bed here. All right, and let's head back into what sells these coaches, which is the rear bathroom. All right, so back into our main bathroom back here. Now our toilet has plenty of room. This is the widest we've seen yet for room in and around the toilet. Let's face it, it's nice to be comfortable. All right, Washer, dryer, closet. Now, one of the things about the Country Star is it's all the things that make a Newmar diesel, all the better insulation and the comfort drive and the HVAC system that's so quiet, and the ride, the drive, all that. But it's supposed to keep the price down. You know, this has a MSRP under $300,000, and one of the ways we do that is we don't cram this full of every stinking feature we can. Now, about $2,500 either from the factory or from me at the dealership level, I mean, adds a stackable washer dryer here. So we can add that, but we didn't want to just include it in here. So easy enough for us to add it, but some people might want to use this for storage, and we're going to give you that option, and that keeps the price down if you don't need the washer dryer. Storage here in the vanity. Tony, good luck staying out of that shot. Okay. More storage down below. Couple drawers. All right, and then I got to get out. I'm going to open this and just get the heck out of the way. We have a drawer and a closet, a third wardrobe. This is the Neo angle shower. Okay. Adequate room, adequate height. You know, you get into the 43 footers, you get a huge shower. In here, it's an adequate shower, and that's, you know, what you can say about it. And again, I go about 225 pounds. I'm 5'9", 5'10", something like that. I've still got room to get the job done in here. So we all have to kind of be honest with ourselves, and with how large we are. If somebody was, you know, bigger, this might not be the right coach for you. You might want to go to a 43 footer to get the bigger shower. So, all right. I think that just about covers the inside with the slides open. Let's look at the inside with the slides closed. Okay, Tony reminded me of one thing we did forget to talk about that we talked about in our pregame plan, but forgot about it in game time. So we're going to talk about that now. We're also going to give you some illustrations up here on the screen. We've really been dealing with one type of chassis up until now, which is the F53 Ford gas chassis. And what you see here is this is what we call a straight rail chassis. Now, obviously the engine's in the front, but you see the rails that we build on, the platform that we build on, they're straight, level, and flat throughout. And that's why most gas coaches don't have a tremendous amount of what we call pass-through storage. They'll have some little cubbies that go above that rail, is what's actually happening when you see those little cubbies that are up and in, but they don't really have the big, huge pass-throughs like a lot of the diesels have. When you get into entry-level diesels, they're built actually on a similar chassis. They move the engine from the front to the back, but they're built on what we call a straight rail chassis. Now, what you see here, it doesn't look all that different other than the placement of the engine. You still have a level rail that goes from one end to the other on the coach. What we get into next is what we're going to call what they do call a raised rail chassis. Now, a raised rail chassis is a little different because they basically build a front clip and a rear clip, and then you have a beam that goes over the top of it like you see here. That raises that rail up. And what you see here, and we'll put some arrows on the screen to show you this, is it creates this huge void because it's a front clip and a rear clip, and they put that rail up on top. It creates this huge void underneath, which is where we get all the pass-through storage. Now, I used to always say that Newmar only builds on raised rail chassis, but Newmar made me a liar a couple years ago because of the New Air. That's a different animal. We'll come back to that. They got real creative there. We'll get to that when we get to the New Air video. But for now, I just want you to understand that all Newmar diesels that we're going to cover, except the New Air, are built on a raised rail chassis. That's why all Newmar diesels have great pass-through storage in them. Sometimes people don't realize why. Hey, why don't they put that huge storage on a gas coach? Couple of reasons. Number one, they can't because the rail's in the way. Number two, even if you built a raised rail gas coach, which nobody does, but if they did, it would weigh too much because of all the extra steel and everything you have to put in there. You'd be over your weight limit. You wouldn't have any carrying capacity on this. So, by the way, this coach has about 7,000 pounds of carrying capacity. That's another reason you go up to a diesel. Hey, we have this huge carrying capacity underneath, and we've got the weight to carry, or we've got the weight rating to carry it. The other weight rating I wanted to get back to that I'm kind of brushed on earlier was our towing capacity. That's based off of the difference between your gross vehicle weight rating, which, like I said, 37,500 on this coach, and the gross combined rating, which, want to take a guess? 47,500. gross combined weight rating. That leaves us a difference of 10,000 pounds. That's what we can tow. Pretty simple equation. So on those gas coaches we talked about, you're going to be fine towing around 5,000 pounds. On this coach, you can tow up to 10,000 pounds. It's another big reason to go to diesel. Not all diesels can tow 10,000 pounds. You get down into the real entry-level stuff, they're going to be a 5,000 pound tow rating a lot of times as well. You got to get into a little bit of a beefier chassis to get to that 10,000 pound tow rating. So let's now talk about what we came to talk about, which we've moved the slides in, and we have our walkway, our aisleway. So nice part about the furniture package we put in here is look at the aisleway it left us in this coach. If you have big dogs or anything like that, no issues. I turn slightly sideways here. I'm easily into the pantry, easily into the refrigerator, the freezer. They did do the articulating door on here, so the key to this is to get past the doorway, open this up, and easily into the bathroom. The only tight spot in any of this was right here when I kind of had to go past the doorway. The wonderful part about the full wall slide is how wide it makes things. If there is a negative, sometimes we do with the slide in get a little narrow here, but it's not bad. It's really not. So we're doing really well on storage, or on storage space, on walkway and aisle space in this coach. Let's take a look at the outside, and we're going to show you some of that stuff. All right, to the outside of our beautiful Country Star. Up front, of course, we have the generator. This we should have listed this as another advantage to the diesel pusher. Diesel pushers, in my mind, are just a better balanced coach. Why is that? Well, we have at least 4 tires on the ground at the back, sometimes 6, and that's a heavier duty axle. Therefore, that's where most of the weight should be. Things like the engine and the transmission and that type of thing. Well, on a diesel pusher, that's where they are. On a gas coach, they're up front, where you only have 2 tires on the ground. So a little better balancing there. The other thing that happens is that leaves us, since there's no engine up here, that leaves us this great big void where we can stick something like the generator. Now, this is an Awning 8 kW diesel generator right up in the nose, which that's good for 2 reasons. Number 1, like I said, good balance on the coach, but number 2, it's the farthest spot away from the bedroom. You're really not going to hear that generator much at all. It really just kind of becomes that little background hum. Even standing right here next to it, I mean, I'm almost in the compartment, and you can hear it humming, but it's certainly not loud. We have a couple other things up front to take note of. First of all, we have air access here and here, so we could air up any tires or goodies, including our own off of our air system. But you could also use that to air up beach toys and that type of thing. Our air horns are mounted in this compartment as well, down low where they can definitely be heard, and also they're out of the weather that way. When we put them up on the roof, they're in the weather, and they can create wind noise because they're not the most aerodynamic things out there, and you're also putting more holes in your roof, which that's really not what you want. Speaking of roof, one-piece fiberglass molded cap roof, just like on the Canyon Star that we talked about. Clear front mask is on this coach. We mentioned the side cameras. That's what they look like from the outside. That shows you who's in your blind spot. Now this front compartment here, these are Freightliner Chassis fuses are what we're looking at here. So you can see all of those in there. Newmar does a nice job giving you some extras of any of the fuses that you might need there. That comes in very handy. The exhaust pipe down here is simply our exhaust for our generator. We do have the 22.5-inch tires. These are on steel rims instead of aluminum rims, so you do have a hubcap that makes it look kind of like an aluminum rim, but it's not. It is a hubcap. Folks, that's simply done to save a little bit of money. It doesn't really affect, things that make it a Newmar, but it honestly saves you some money to help, again, keep the price of the Country Star down. We do still have dual fuel fill, like on all the Newmar diesels. You can fill the fuel from either side. Masterpiece finish all over the coach, flush mount slides, things we've talked about again and again and again, all true here. Now up front in this compartment we have 2 things. We have our propane bottle, and they mounted it horizontally instead of vertically, is what I would call that, just to kind of get it back in the frame. That's again a little better weight distribution, and then that leaves space in this compartment for our bank of 6 batteries on a pull-out tray. The higher up the line we get, the more and more batteries become important. This has a 6 battery tray. This has the bigger inverter in it that'll run all the outlets and everything in the coach, so nice that we have that going for us. Now we get back in here. Now I want to show you the thickness of this floor. This floor is like this thick, and I don't know that we can truly get a gauge on that, but we literally have a floor that's that thick full of insulation. And What that does for us, number one, it cuts down on noise that comes from the ground, from the highway up through the coach. Number two, it's a better insulated basement. You know, you're only as strong as your weakest point when it comes to insulation, and for most coaches, they talk about their insulation in their doors or in their sidewalls, but they never want to talk about that floor, because their floor is a 1/4 inch thick steel, aluminum, fiberglass, depends on what manufacturer we're talking about, and with no insulation in it whatsoever. The Newmar diesel coaches from this point on up are extremely insulated basement floors, so you have that going. Now, we talked about raised rail chassis. This is what a raised rail chassis does for you. Get that camera shot down low so we can truly show you everything on the pass-through. You can see the structural beams coming down that are part of the Star foundation. We've talked about that in other videos as well, so I'm not going to go too much into that. Only understand all of the weight gets transferred back towards the middle, which just makes this a much stronger coach with extreme storage possibilities all the way through. Moving back another compartment, we get into our wet bay. This is again a heated compartment. Anywhere we run water lines or water tanks, they put a little bit of heat in there. So this heated compartment here, we have our whole house water filtration system. This is where we hook up our fresh water. This is our sewer tank rinse to rinse the black tank. We have hot and cold water here, a winterization hose to make winterization a snap. Obviously, this is where we drain our gray and black tanks. Everything is well labeled. Everything's easy to access. These are all side swing baggage doors instead of doors that lift up as well, which they get out of your way better, is the advantage of a side swing door. A couple of things in here. I'm going to step past the camera. This is our DEF tank, diesel exhaust fluid. That's part of your after treatment on the engine. Again, we've talked about that in the past, but if people have questions specifically on this, I'd be glad to talk to you about that. This is actually our storage for our sewer hose. Nice spot that'll fit about any sewer hose in there. But one thing I want to point out in here, this is the Newmar slide system. Okay, you don't have those wimpy little tracks like on a Schwintek slide. You have a huge slide motor there that connects together 4 cog wheels that are like this big around with big nubs on them. It really can't skip a tooth. It's very hard. I always tell people, look, on a Newmar, if you get through your first 3 weeks without a slide issue, you'll probably go forever without a slide issue, because if something gets assembled wrong or needs readjusted or aligned, we'll know that right away. But if after that, they're good forever. I mean, it's a super robust slide system. 50 amp shore power cord tied to the automatic transfer switch, which also has a built-in surge protector in it. Most diesel coaches don't utilize these 2 compartments back here as storage. Now, you can't if it's a side radiator, but a lot of times you'll open these back doors and you can kind of see the side of the engine. Well, that doesn't do you any good. There's not too many adjustments that need made to the side of a diesel engine. You might as well take that as extra storage space, and that's what Newmar's giving you there. Beautiful one-piece molded cap with the ladder. This is a Freightliner chassis. This is 10,000 pounds towing. This is a 360 horse engine, 800 foot-pounds of torque, 6-speed Allison, all that good stuff. This is a rear radiator coach, so there's really not a ton to see inside there. You can check your fluid levels, you can check your air filter. That's about the extent of what you're going to accomplish from inside that compartment. We get to the back here, we can see our diesel particulate filter and our after treatment, the rest of our after treatment that goes after the NOx and the particulate. That's what's in that canister down below. These are our chassis batteries that start the engine, and then this is our chassis battery disconnect if we put the coach in storage. Any other time, if you're plugged in, you kind of want to leave that on because that helps your batteries charge. Okay. Nice storage here. These compartments are lighted compartments. We have our pegboard. Now, our water tanks are behind that, but they give you the pegboard to hang tools and extension cords and, you know, your extra roll of duct tape, all that good stuff, all the necessities for life. Note the awning. We decided to go ahead and open that up. We have a beautiful LED light across the bottom of the tube, and that's a nice sized awning. That's got to be a 14-footer, give or take. I think it's a 12-foot slide and we're longer than that, so we're in good shape there. We have the Samsung television on a swing arm with the Bose Bluetooth sound bar. And when you're not using this, how easy is this to tuck away? The magnets pull it back in. We do have an outlet in there with USBs on it as well, so that makes it easy to charge your devices. You can get another shot of the storage. This is even a better shot of the storage because the doors are taller on this side of the coach. just immense amount of storage in a diesel pusher. So this is one of the biggest reasons you would want to go to a diesel pusher, is just to have all of this available storage to you. All right, this just about covers it, but here's your other fuel fill. See that? All right. Frameless windows, beautiful paint. I'm just not sure what else we can say about this Country Star. It's a wonderful coach. Look, at the end of the day, this coach is going to be, like I said, $75,000, give or take, more than a Canyon Star. Is it worth it? I can't answer that for you. You know, is it better at climbing the mountains because of the added torque of the engine? Absolutely. Is that worth $75,000 to you? That's a decision we all have to wrestle with. I hope it takes a little part of your day and makes it a little better during our little shutdown here. Please don't forget to vote on which Ventano floor plan you want, and tune in next time. Don't forget to like and share our videos and subscribe to our page. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris Anderson with Mount Comfort RV.